Hi everyone, today we are continuing our discussion on solving multi-step equations, and our focus today is going to be on distribution, combining like terms, and fractions. So we're going to start off up here with number 1, and you can see that this equation has distribution because we notice the parentheses. We have a lot of negatives going on, so we want to be very, very careful working this problem out and to watch our positives and negatives. So the first thing is I'm going to do is do the distribution. So I can see I need to do -3 times the x, which is -3x. And then I also need to do -3 times -2, which is +6. Okay, and that's the only thing I'm going to do in step 1. All right, now I have x's on both sides, and I also have constants on both sides. So I'm going to get all of my x's over to the left. So since this is -x, I would add x, which would give me -2x plus 6 is equal to 1. Okay, now I need to move this +6, so I would subtract 6. And we have -2x is equal to -5. And then last, divide by what's in front of the x. Now be very, very careful this time because we have a -5 divided by a -2. Negative divided by negative is positive. Okay, so be very careful with these negative sides here. Now, my answer is 5/2. I could go in and convert it to a decimal and tell me that it is a decimal. However, I'm just going to leave it as a fraction right now. Okay, unless it asks for a decimal, I wouldn't worry about it. All right, down here on number 2, so we have a little different scenario down here where we see we have a distribution over on the right, but then on the left we also have combining like terms. So the first thing I'm going to do is take care of the distribution. Okay, so that means that the front part is the same. So we're going to do -4 times x, -4x, and then -4 times +7, which is a -28. Okay, at this point, I need to combine some like terms. So when I look, I have a -2x and a +2x. And when I put those together, -2 and a +2, they actually will cancel each other out. So that leaves me with 3 is equal to -4x minus 28. Okay. I just need x's to be on one side or the other. It doesn't matter if they're on the left or if they're on the right. So since my x is already on the right, I'm going to leave it there because there are no other x's. And instead, this time I'm going to take the 28 to the left. Since it's a -28, I need to add 28. So that'll give me 31 is equal to a -4x. So last, divide by -4. So x is a -31/4. And we can just leave it like that. There's nothing wrong with a fraction. Now, if you're on an assessment and it has a decimal, then you could just divide that out in a calculator. Okay, so let's look at number 3. Now in number 3, we have a fraction. Now we've talked about fractions before and said that if one side is a fraction and the other side is not, I want to multiply by the denominator to get rid of the denominator. So in this case, I would take and multiply each side by 2 because 2 is in the denominator. Okay? So here these 2's will cancel each other out or simplify, leaving me with x plus 7 equals, and then 4x times 2 is just 8x. You're just multiplying the numbers. You don't worry about the variable here because there's not another variable. Okay, I have x's on the right. I'm going to leave those there since I only need to move one thing. So that would be a negative x since this is positive 1x. I'm going to subtract an x from both sides. So 7 is equal to 7x's. And then if I divide by 7, I get 1. Okay, so the key here is to remember that if only one is a fraction, multiply by what's in the denominator. Okay, now 4 is a little different because here in 4, we have an x on the right, we have an x on the left, and this should be one great big equal sign. I don't know why it came out as 2, but it's just one equal sign here. Okay, I'm going to take all of my x's to the right, and that would get rid of the x's here. So I'm going to subtract 1/2 x from each side. So that would leave me a negative 3 equals, okay, 1x minus 1/2 of an x. So a whole minus 1/2 leaves me with 1/2 x. All right, now this is a fraction, so I want to multiply each side by the reciprocal. So here, I want to multiply each side by 2 over 1. Okay, so that would leave me with x on the right, and 2 over 1 is just the number 2, and 2 minus 3 is negative 1. Okay, so the rule is take and subtract and then multiply by the reciprocal. Now, if you had changed your 1/2 into 0.5, that's okay. This still would have worked. Okay, and if I had decided at this step to divide by 1/2, that is also okay. Okay, so whatever you do to the left, you have to do to the right. Okay, and now you're getting some choices as to how you can do a couple of these things. All right, so let's go and look at number 5. And this is our cross multiply example. Okay, so when I have a fraction equal a fraction, okay, fraction equal a fraction, all I'm doing is taking the top left and multiplying by the bottom right. So negative 6 times 2x plus 3 is equal to, okay, bottom left times top right, 5 times x minus 4. Okay, how did I know what went on the outside of the parentheses? The single term, be it 5, x, negative 3, okay, whatever that is, goes out here by itself. It even could have been 2x, but it would not be the one with the pluses and the minuses. Okay, so it's always the numbers that are stuck together. Okay, at this point, we are doing distribution. Now remember, we have to be careful doing the second term. So when we're doing this distribution here, okay, remember it's negative 6 times 2x, negative 6 times positive 3. Okay, so that gives us negative 12x, and negative 6 times 3 is negative 18 equals, and then I'm doing the same thing here. 5 times x is 5x, and 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. All right, I'm just going to keep my x's on the left this time, so I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. Negative 12 minus 5 is negative 17x. The negative 18 is still there, didn't go anywhere. All right, and now I need to move the 18 over with the 20. So I need to add 18. So negative 17x is equal to negative 20 plus 18 is negative 2. Divide by negative 17. And once again, I have this negative divided by a negative, so that means I have a positive 2/17. And I can leave this as a fraction. I do not have to convert to a decimal. Okay, so the rules here: watch your distribution, combine like terms, such as in number 2, be very careful. You can underline them if you need to. Remember, the sign in front goes with them. Okay, when you're dealing with fractions, you're really just cross multiplying here. And if you do have a fraction, such as a 1/2 x or 2/3 x, you could always change that over into a decimal. All right, that's it for this video.